Hi, I'm Matthew Lapp, host of Matthew Lapp Train Guide. Also today I'm at the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia. The Virginia Museum of Transportation is located on 303 Norfolk Avenue Southwest in Roanoke, Virginia. And before planning on visiting the museum, I suggest checking the web for the museum's hours, which would be best. The museum originally opened the doors to the public in 1963 and was originally located at Wasena Park in the city. Also, when it was located there, there was a miniature railroad on the grounds, likely one diesel that ran on the mini tracks is still part of the museum and is just on the freight loading platform at the present location. Also, during that time, the museum was housed in an old Norfolk and Western Railway freight depot located on the banks of the Roanoke River. Also, since it was near the Roanoke River, there was a flood happening in 1985 around the museum. Then, after the flood, the museum had to relocate to the present location it is at today. The building is a former freight depot once served by the Norfolk and Western Railroad, and it was built in 1918. In 1964, the building closed for business. Then, 21 years later, the Virginia Museum of Transportation relocated from Wasena Park to right here at the freight depot. The next year, it reopened to the public. As I said, the locomotive that ran on the miniature tracks at the original location is on display. The cars that were there might have either been destroyed or lost in the flood. Also, it features not only trains but includes road transportation and air transportation. Also, other exhibits based off transportation as well. Norfolk Southern trains pass by the place as well, and we mostly see freight traffic pass by the museum grounds as well. What you see right behind me is Norfolk and Western 914 780. Norfolk and Western 514 780 was built by the Norfolk and Western Roanoke shops in Roanoke, Virginia in 1919 and is a dynamometer car. It was originally numbered 4900. The dynamometer car is a rolling laboratory that tests the pulling power of locomotives. The front coupler is attached to the frame by a hydraulic cylinder. The pull of a locomotive moves a piston in the cylinder, and measuring instruments in the car record the data. It was equipped with instruments to record speed, back pressure, boiler steam pressure, and pounds of drawbar pull of the steam locomotives. The car contains as operating compartment with recording table, instruments, and tool bench, and sleeper compartments, and also has a toilet, shower, and kitchen. Later, it was renumbered 514 780. Then, later, the car was retired. It was then acquired by the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, when it was originally located at Wasena Park. It sat there with the museum till a flood happened in 1985, and this piece, along with the museum, relocated to this site after that. Today, it can be seen here on display at the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, where it is seen today. What you see right behind me is Norfolk and Western 93. Norfolk and Western 93 was built by the Bethlehem Steel Car Company in Wilmington, Delaware in 1937 and is an RPO car. This car was used for many years on passenger trains and was used to carry mail, and mail was sorted and delivered and picked up without the train stopping on the routes. Then it was sold to the Florida East Coast Railroad in 1960. In 1966, it then returned to the Norfolk and Western Railroad but was leased to the Wabash Railroad till 1964 when the Wabash merged to the Norfolk and Western in 1964. Then, in 1968, it was retired and was donated to the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, when it was originally located at Wasena Park. It sat there with the museum till a flood happened in 1985, and this piece, along with the museum, relocated to this site after that. Today, it is seen here at the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, where it is preserved today. What you see right behind me is Norfolk and Western 1776. Norfolk and Western 1776 was built by Electromotive Division in LaGrange, Illinois in 1970 and is the 355/32nd diesel locomotive built by that factory and is an SD45 type diesel locomotive. It was used to pull freight trains for a number of years whenever it was used by the Norfolk and Western Railroad. It originally had a standard black livery for the Norfolk and Western Railroad. In 1974, it was repainted red, white, and blue to celebrate the bicentennial of the United States of America. This locomotive was one of many locomotives to feature the bicentennial themes at this time. It went on tour of 14 states, which the Norfolk and Western operated with a coal hopper and piggyback trailer in similar colors. In 1978, it was returned with a standard Norfolk and Western black livery before it was donated to the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia in 1990. The Norfolk Southern repainted the locomotive to this paint scheme at their Chattanooga shops in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Then the locomotive rolled to Roanoke and was then put on display on the museum grounds. Today it is seen on display and preserved here at the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, where it is seen on display today. What you see right behind is Chesapeake Western 662. Chesapeake Western 662 was built by Baldwin in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 1946 and is the 733/59th diesel locomotive built by that factory and is a DS 4-4-660 type diesel locomotive. This locomotive spent many years switching cars for the Chesapeake Western Railroad. It was likely used to haul freight cars as well. Then it was retired from service in 1964. It then ended up at Virginia Scrap Iron and Metal Company in Roanoke, Virginia. Then it was donated to the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia by the Scrap Company. In 2012, it was then restored by the Roanoke chapter NRHS and was repainted as well. Today, it is preserved here at the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, where it is preserved today. What you see right behind me is Virginia Museum of Transportation 9647. 9647 was built by National Steel Car Company in Hamilton, Ontario in 1955 and is a tool car. Originally, it was built as a baggage express car and was built originally for the Canadian National Railroad and originally numbered 9267. Also, this car carried baggage on board for many years. Later, it was renumbered 9647. This car was used on the railroad for many years when being used on passenger trains running through Canada. Then it was renumbered 624-73. Then the Canadian National Railroad passenger trains were handed over to Via Rail, which is Canada's national intercity passenger train that is similar to Amtrak. This car, along with the other cars in the passenger car fleet, was transferred to Via Rail as well. Also, this car was likely used by Via Rail as well. Then it was retired and was later acquired by the Norfolk Southern Railroad and was rebuilt as a tool car for the steam program. Then, when the steam program discontinued, It later ended up at the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, and there was a foreseeable future that this car would ever run again. Then it went to the North Carolina Transportation Museum in Spencer, North Carolina, with the Norfolk and Western 611, where it was restored. The next year, the locomotive was under steam once again. Then the car continued tool car service as well. Also, it travels with the steam locomotive on excursion runs as well, but it is based at the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, where it is stationed today. What you see right behind me is Norfolk Southern 31. Norfolk Southern 31 was built by Pullman in 1925 and is a research car. Originally, it was a Pullman coach with the Pullman name McCown, and it was originally built as a 12-1 sleeper car where it had 12 compartments and one double bedroom. And it was used on passenger trains, and people would even spend the night on board as well. It was then sold to the Southern Railroad and was likely renumbered 2483, and then R1, and then 21. As well as that, it was rebuilt as a track geometry car in the 1960s as people would monitor track integrity inside. It features computers measured with track width, rail wear, banking, and other track measurements. It featured computers with measuring track width, rail wear. Half of the car was used for research, and the other half had living quarters for the crew inside a kitchen, dining area, and sleeping berths that would be pulled down. Then in 1962, the Southern Railway and Norfolk and Western merged to become the Norfolk Southern Railroad, and the car was renumbered 31. Then it was retired, and the Norfolk Southern Railroad donated the car to the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, where it is seen today. Then in 2007, it was loaned by the museum to the Norfolk Southern Railroad and was updated with new technological equipment and was returned to service for only 2 years. Then it was returned to the museum. Today it is preserved here at the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, where it is on display today. What you see right behind me is Norfolk and Western 300. Norfolk and Western 300 was built by Alco in Schenectady, New York in 1955 and is the 813/64th diesel locomotive built by that factory and is an RS3 type diesel locomotive. It is believed to have originally been numbered 99 and later renumbered 300. This locomotive operated on the railroad's Lynchburg, Virginia to Durham, North Carolina branch, hauling freight trains for a number of years. It is the first of 4 RS3 locomotives purchased for the Norfolk and Western Railroad. Then the locomotive was retired and was acquired by the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, where it is on display today. Originally, it was displayed with the museum at Wasena Park. till the river flood struck in 1985, and this piece and most of the items were moved to this location. Today, this locomotive is seen here on display at the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, where it is seen today. What you see right behind me is Chesapeake Western 10. Chesapeake Western 10 was built by Alco in Schenectady, New York in 1959 and is the a 2309 diesel locomotive built by that factory and is a T6 type diesel locomotive. This locomotive was originally built for the Norfolk and Western Railroad and was originally numbered 40 and painted in the railroad standard black paint scheme. It was used to haul freight trains for a number of years and even switch cars around. Then, in 1964, the locomotive was transferred to the Chesapeake Western Railway, where it was renumbered 10 that railroad. In 1985, the locomotive was retired and was donated to the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia by the Norfolk Southern Railroad, where it is seen on display today. What you see right behind me is Virginian 4. Virginian 4 was built by Baldwin in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 1910 and is the 350 34th steam locomotive built by that factory and is an 0808 wheeler type steam locomotive. This locomotive was used as a switcher locomotive for the Virginian Railroad and would be used to switch cars around as well. In 1957, it was donated to the city of Princeton, West Virginia, where it sat on display in front of the Mercer Courthouse. Then, exposure of weather and vandalism led to deterioration of the locomotive's condition. Then, the Norfolk and Western Railroad traded a caboose in 1960. The locomotive was refurbished inside the Norfolk and Western Roanoke shops in Roanoke, Virginia, and was then donated to the Roanoke Transportation Museum, which is now named the Virginia Museum of Transportation. It joined the collection in 1967, just in time for the museum's dedication in the middle of June that year. Originally, it sat at Wasena Park with the museum till a flood from the river struck in 1985, and this piece, along with the museum, relocated to this site after that. Also, it is the last remaining member of all the steam locomotives used by the Virginian Railroad and is on display here at the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, where it is seen on display today. What you see right behind me is Virginian 321. Virginia 321 was built by the St. Louis Car Company in St. Louis, Missouri in 1947 and is an all-steel cupola caboose. This caboose was used on the back end of freight trains and used as the train crew's office as well. Then, in 1959, the Virginian Railroad merged to the Norfolk and Western Railroad, and the car was renumbered 53321, and its class was changed to C30. Then, it was retired and was then acquired by the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, when it was originally located at Wasena Park. Also, it was restored with its original number and Virginian letters. It sat there with the museum till a flood happened in 1985, and this piece, along with the museum, relocated to this site after that. In 2013 and 2014, it was then repainted once again. Today, it is preserved here at the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, where it is on display today. What you see right behind me is the Blue Ridge Stone Company diesel. The Blue Ridge Stone diesel was built by Whitcomb Locomotive Works in Rochelle, Illinois in 1941 and is the 40,128th diesel locomotive built by that factory and is a 30 DM31 type diesel locomotive. Originally, it was built for the Houston Shipbuilding Company and was originally numbered 3. It spent many years switching freight cars around as well. It was then bought by the Blue Ridge Stone Company in Roanoke, Virginia. Then it was likely used by the High Sierra Transportation LLC later on. Then it was retired and was then acquired by the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, where it is today. It then got a repaint to yellow at some point and was looking good as new as well. Today it is preserved here at the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, where it is seen on display today. What you see right behind me is Celanese 1. Celanese 1 was built by H.K. Porter in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 1943 and is the 73-78th steam locomotive built by that factory and is an 040F fireless four-wheeler type steam locomotive. This locomotive is known to be a fireless locomotive, and fireless steam engines were used in areas that have flammable substances such as textile mills, chemical plants, and coal-burning plants, and they operated without the need of a fire to heat the boiler water to make steam, and they used heavily insulated boilers to store pressurized steam and hot water. It was also used at the Celanese Corp in Selco, Virginia, many years ago. It was used to switch chemical cars around at the chemical plant as well. Then, in 1966, it was retired and it was donated to the city of Roanoke, Virginia. It then ended up at the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia. It was originally located at Wasena Park with the museum. It sat there with the museum till a flood happened in 1985, and this piece, along with the museum, relocated to the present site after that. Then it soon got a repaint done on it and looking good as new as well. Today, it is preserved here at the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, where it is on display today. What you see right behind me is Pennsylvania Railroad 4919. Pennsylvania Railroad 4919 was built by the Pennsylvania Railroad Juniata Shops in Altoona, Pennsylvania in 1942 and is the 4389th electric locomotive built by that factory and is a GG1 type electric locomotive. It is one of 139 GG1s built. Also, it was used for hauling passenger trains for many years. Then, in 1968, when the Pennsylvania Railroad and New York Central Railroad merged to become the Penn Central, the locomotive kept the number. In 1971, it was sold to Amtrak, where it was renumbered 917. Then in 1976 it was renumbered 4917. Later the locomotive was retired and was then acquired by the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, and was originally located at Wasena Park with the museum. It sat there with the museum till a flood happened in 1985, and this piece along with the museum relocated to this site after that. In 2014, it was sandblasted for a repaint. It was soon repainted back to its Pennsylvania Railroad scheme. Also, Pennsylvania Railroad 4919 is one of 16 surviving GG1s left in the world today, and 4919 can be found here at the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, where it is today. What you see right behind me is Virginian 135. Virginian 135 was built by General Electric in Schenectady, New York in 1956 and is the 325/48 electric locomotive built by that factory and is an E33 type electric locomotive. This locomotive is shown to be how it originally looked, and it was used to pull trains for the railroad as the Virginian electrified its 135-mile line from Roanoke, Virginia to Mullins, West Virginia in 1925, and these locomotives were to be the most advanced electric motive power the railroad owned. Then in 1956, the Virginian Railroad merged to the Norfolk and Western Railroad, and the locomotive was renumbered to 35. Then, as Norfolk and Western saw diesels as the future of motive power, electrification was discontinued in 1962, and the locomotive was sold to the New York, New Haven, and Hartford Railroad, where it was renumbered 304, and it was reclassified as an EF4S. Then, in 1969, the New York, New Haven, and Hartford merged to Penn Central, and the locomotive was then renumbered 4604. Then, when that railroad merged to Conrail in 1976, it then kept the number. In 1981, it was retired, and the Conrail discontinued the electrifications, and the locomotive was sold to the factory that built it. Then, in 1983, it was acquired by the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, when it was originally located at Wasena Park, and was restored to how it looked when it was used by the Virginian Railroad. It sat there with the museum till a flood happened in 1985, and this piece along with the museum relocated to this site after that. Also, Virginian 135 is one of two E33s from Virginian, Norfolk and Western, New York, New Haven, and Hartford, Penn Central and Conrail, and General Electric, and 131, which is currently numbered for Conrail as 4601, is the other one, and is at the Illinois Railway Museum in Union, Illinois, and 135 can be seen here at the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, where it is seen on display today. What you see right behind me is Virginia Central 3. Virginia Central 3 was built by Henry Kirk Porter in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 1942, and is the 7396 diesel locomotive built by that factory, and is a 50-ton center cab type diesel locomotive. It was built originally for the Bethlehem Hingham shipyard and was originally numbered 502. Then it was later acquired by the United States Navy and was renumbered 65-00458. Then it was sold to the Hingham Industrial Center and was renumbered 101. It was later sold to the Virginia Central and kept the number. Later it was renumbered 3. Then it was retired and appears to have been donated to the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, sometime after the main segment of the Virginia Central ceased operations. Originally, it was displayed with the museum at Wasena Park till the river flood struck in 1985, and this piece and most of the items were moved to this location. Today, it is seen here on display at the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, where it is preserved today. You see right behind me, Southern 8608. Southern 8638 was built by Mager Car Company in Clifton, New Jersey in 1965 and is a covered hopper car. This car is known to be the Big John covered hopper car. This car was used in mixed freight trains and used on trains with other covered hopper cars, quite similar to it as well. Also, this car carried grain whenever it was used for freight trains years ago. Then, when the Norfolk and Western and Southern Railway merged in 1982 to form the Norfolk Southern, it may be possible it was used by that railroad. Then later on it was retired and was acquired by the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, where it is seen today. What you see right behind me, Southern 33348. Southern 33348 was built by Pullman Standard somewhere in the 1960s and is a 50-foot boxcar. This car spent several years hauling cargo that a boxcar like this one hauled on board when it was used in freight service, such as boxes or rolls of paper or any other products it may have hauled many years ago. Later, it was retired and was then acquired by the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia, where it is seen today. Well, I hope you all enjoyed learning about trains with me today. I'm Matthew Lapp, Train Guy. Also, I hope to see you all again real soon. And if you didn't subscribe to my channel yet, the subscribe button is just down below the video screen. And if you didn't give the Facebook page a like yet, here's where you'll want to go. And if you didn't get the Instagram page a follow yet, here's where you'll want to go as well. Also, be sure to get your merch at teesprings.com. I'll have the link in the description box below, along with the Facebook and Instagram pages. And as always, remember to subscribe to the Train Guy. So this is Matthew Lapp, host of Matthew Lapp Train Guy. Signing out until next time. All aboard!